On my most recent video, I covered a game called Sister Location Super Custom Night. There, I talked about how it turns the main game's max mode even more chaotic, but I never went into too much detail. Today, that's gonna change. In this video, I will begin the Ultimate Sister Location Super Custom Night Guide, where I explain all the animatronics and all the changes made to the original ones. I will also do my best to explain how to beat Super Golden Freddy. That way, more and more victors can appear. This is gonna be a two-part guide. The reason why is because of the challenges, mainly Hyper Mode, which changes all of the animatronics into faster versions, and some of them even get reworked to increase the challenge. So I decided to explain the basics of the game up to 1820, which is Super Golden Freddy, and then on part 2, I'll cover the differences with Hyper Mode, what the other challenges add, and how to beat Hyper Golden Freddy. You might be asking about Perfect Cacophony. Perfect Cacophony is basically Hyper Golden Freddy, but with the other challenges enabled as well. So really there isn't much difference from one to the other. Obviously some of those challenges make it way harder, but not because of a big difference in mechanics. But anyway, let's focus on the first part. So before I get into how the animatronics work, I want to explain the changes from this to the original sister location. Super Custom Night adds, along with new animatronics, many other features. Some of the more important ones are the ability to disable the perspective effect in the office, which makes the game a bit more nice to look at. Turning off the custom cursor that the original has, which is a big feature since by using your actual cursor, clicking bonnet and the cameras becomes way easier. And for the faint of heart, you can decrease the jump scare volume, so your eardrums are safe. This game introduces a coin system as well. With those coins, you can go into the shop and unlock the 6 animatronics on the bottom row. You can also buy cheats if you want an easy time, and the challenges if you want a bad time. There's also different backgrounds and menu music, but I'll be honest, I only unlocked these because I had like 60,000 coins to spare. I have changed the background because why not, but they aren't really that useful. Definitely focus on buying the animatronics first, or else you won't be able to play Super Golden Freddy. To get these coins, you have to get score by beating a custom night of your choosing. The more score you get, the more coins you get. A cool little thing is that even if you fail, you still get coins depending on how far you got into the night. This coin system is, in my opinion, a waste of time, but I guess it's made so you slowly get into the game and learn each of the animatronics. There are 20 preset challenges that you can play on normal or hard difficulty. Personally, I only played Golden Freddy and the shelf challenges before I just made custom nights of my own. There's some other features like stats and even extra nights on the extras menu, but I never touched them, so if you want to see how they look like, you can download the game with the link I'll leave in the description and try it for yourself. Oh, quick reminder, you need to own FNAF Sister Location on Steam to play this mod, or else it won't open. Now, time to explain the 18 animatronics. If you watched the Sister Location guide I made just over a month ago, throw all of that information away, because 90% of the original animatronics work differently. So first, let's start with Baby. Baby starts counting down from 3.
3, 2, 1.
When she says 1, her eyes will appear at the end of either hallway, which are in cams 1 and 2. Shock whichever hallway she's in to send her away. You have 6 seconds to shock the correct hallway. If you take too long, her eyes will disappear, and as soon as you flip the camera down, she will jump scare you. One thing you should know is that if Wither Bonnie appears and Baby says 1, she will add 1 second to the kill timer to prevent deaths from that combo. Funtime Freddy is mostly the same, though he's a bit nerfed. At the start of the night, Freddy will scurry to one of the sides of the building. The sound will pan towards that side. Every 8 seconds, which used to be 5 in the original, he will play a voice line indicating his attack.
Bon Bon, go get him! Hey Bon Bon, go get him!
He can also use a voice line that indicates the attack comes from the opposite side.
Get ready for a surprise!
Shut the correct door after his voice line ends, and when he's dealt with, you'll hear a bonk on that door. That means you're safe to open. Ballora has been reworked in this mod. Before, she worked in 5-second intervals, meaning that once her music was at the loud state, she would leave after the next 5-second interval if the door she's at was closed. If it was open, she would jump scare you after 6 seconds from 1 to 3 AM, 5 seconds at 4 AM, and 4 seconds at 5 AM. Because of that mechanic, you could shut the door on her just before the next 5-second interval and quickly reopen it, saving a lot of power. In this mod, however, she works differently. Now, when her music reaches the loud state, you have to shut the door until the song starts panning to the other side, which means she's leaving. Usually, this will take 3 seconds. So basically, you actually have to listen to when she's leaving now instead of just using a timer. Funtime Foxy in this mod works completely different from the base game. In Super Custom Night, Funtime Foxy has a 10-second timer that starts ticking down after 5 seconds at the start of the night. When you pull up the cameras, that timer pauses, and by looking at Foxy at cam 7, when you flip down the camera, their timer will be frozen for 3 seconds. That basically means now you have to check for Funtime Foxy every 3 seconds instead of 5, making this animatronic a bit more strict. Bonnet in Super Custom Night is a bit faster than the original. They can also spawn from left to right instead of right to left. This really isn't that much of a problem, but I have to mention it since it is a change. Ennard is basically the Ennard from the private room night in Sister Location, but this one is very nerfed. He doesn't get faster as the night goes on and can't make silent movements. The sound cue from when Ennard is at one of your doors or vents is also very loud, making it quite easy to know when he's at your door. Ennard moves every 6 seconds, which means that once he reaches your door, you can wait until just before the next 6-second interval to close it, saving tons of power. Which is the thing I never did in my runs. For Super Golden Freddy, this green running is not necessary, but for Hyper I will definitely have to adopt this strategy. Biddy Babs are now less RNG. Once they make the vent sound, they will only kill you after you pull up cams. Therefore, it's possible to wait the entire night without closing the vents and they won't kill you. But Electrobabs, Mini Arenas, Baby, and Funtime Foxy won't allow that to happen anyway. Once they make the thonk sound, shutting the door for 1 second will make them leave always, which before was RNG and would waste tons of power. If the oxygen is below 10%, Biddy Babs will kill you even if you're in the office. Electrobabs are basically the same as OG. They spawn every 10 seconds at either closet and require a controlled shock to disappear. In Super Custom Night, they spawn at a random closet each time, which means that they can repeat the same side, whereas in the original, they'd always be in opposite closets. Once they're active, they will take 0.5% power every 2.5 seconds, so make sure you're quick with the shocking. Yendo is a lot less deadly in Super Custom Night. The reason why is because Yendo only kills you when your oxygen reaches 0% instead of after 1 second of being in your office. After you flip the cam to deal with him, Yendo goes into a 3-second cooldown, where he can appear in subsequent flips. This cooldown is also present at the start of the night, meaning Yendo will only start appearing after 3 seconds. Yendo cannot appear at the same time as Phantom Foxy or the other way around. Lolbit is mostly the same. What she now does is, after she plays the alarm, which is a bit louder than OG, if the alarm plays for 4 seconds, Lolbit will mute all the important sound cues from the other animatronics. I'll be honest, this is a little useless. You won't be allowing her to get to that stage ever anyway. Mini Arenas 1 are the same. The only difference is that the exponential oxygen drain as you leave them active for long increases faster. They will spawn every 10 seconds like Electrobabs do. Mini Arenas 2 are completely unchanged from the original. Nothing to see here. Now for the new 6 animatronics from the bottom row. Freddy will slowly get closer to your door on the left side. You can see him in the cameras as he gets closer, like in UCN. Once he's at your door, his eyes will glow in the office. Once that happens, close the left door for 1 second and he will leave by making a bonk sound. Freddy takes 4 seconds to kill you once he's reached the door, though he'll only get in once you flip cams, meaning he won't kill you while you're in the office. So you could technically only close the left door before going into cams. He can also be stalled if you look at his camera, which is cam 1. Once Freddy has bonked, he goes into a 15-second cooldown before appearing in the hallways again. One quick little tip is that Freddy's eyes can be viewed while in the cams by the small little gap on the left side of the camera. I doubt you'll be able to use that in attempts, but it's good to know. He also says the funny line once you get killed.
It looks like someone wasn't ready for Freddy to come to the party.
Withered Bonnie will appear in one of the hallways after 10 seconds, playing a metal noise. After that, they will disappear from the hallway after another 10 seconds, entering your office. If you are in the office when this happens, nothing will change, but as soon as you enter cams, after 10 seconds, Bonnie will force your camera down to attack. If the camera was flipped down at any time before that, he will attack sooner, When Bonnie is in your office, a timer called the stare timer, I'm not kidding, the developer called it that, will begin counting down. Before this timer ends, you must put on the mask by yeeting your cursor to the mask button on top or by pressing Q. If done quickly enough, they will leave after 2 seconds. If you took too long, then Bonnie will kill you anyway, like in FNAF 2. Bonnie can be stalled for 5 seconds by closing the door corresponding to whichever hallway he's present in the cameras. You'll most likely end up doing this on accident. It's important to note that if Bonnie is inside and you don't put on the mask, they won't actually kill you. Bonnie will disappear and you're good to go. Yeah, I lied. Bonnie will disappear but will kill you as soon as you flip up the camera. Nightmare Chica is one of the easiest animatronics added in this mod. She will randomly close her teeth around you like in UCN. To stop her, you have to flip up the cameras and wait until the teeth start rising. The reason why I say she's easy is because most of the times you can time flipping up the cameras for her while shocking Baby or Electrobabs and Minarinas. Phantom Foxy has a random chance to appear after you flip up the cameras. Once he's in the office, you must place your cursor on the opposite half of the office. If done correctly, he will start fading away. If not, Foxy will jump scare you, causing your oxygen to get drained to 0% instantly. He seems really easy to deal with, but in my experience, Phantom Foxy actually makes this a lot harder. The reason why is because of Funtime Freddy, but I'll get to that in the strategy section. Afton is a straight copy out of UCN. The only difference is that his interval isn't every 29 seconds. Afton will choose a random time of the night to do his attack. This could be at the very start of the night or at the very end. Once he starts his attack, the screen will blink and he will make very loud rustling noises. Quickly shut the vent to stop him from jumpscaring you. Like in UCN, Afton only attacks once per night. Old Man Consequences is also another copy out of UCN, though this time he has a chance to spawn every 5 seconds instead of 10. Now, one thing that is important to know is that the time it takes for you to catch the fish will offset his timer, meaning that if OMC spawned at 5 seconds and it took you 1 second to catch his fish, he will do another check to spawn at 11 seconds. If you don't catch the fish in time, he will lock your cameras for 9 seconds, which on 1820 it means you're 90% of the time just dead. Now, onto the strategy section of the video. Honestly, there's barely any strategy. This is more about tips to deal with some animatronic combos than anything. The most basic thing you need to remember is to always flip cams for Funtime Foxy every 3 seconds. That way, they won't leave the curtains and waste your power. Every 10 seconds, you're also going to be shocking both Minarinas and Electrobabs, then placing your camera on Funtime Foxy again. Funtime Freddy is probably going to be the character that you'll die the most to in this game. Mostly because you have to keep track of which side he's at while also getting bombarded with other animatronics and their sound cues. Here's where I'll explain why Phantom Foxy is worse than he looks. In the original sister location, the way I used to deal with Funtime Freddy was hear which side he goes at the start of the night and place my cursor towards that side of the office. And after he attacked, I would place it on the other side. That way, I won't have to keep a mental track of where he is. Phantom Foxy ruins that strategy since you can't place your cursor where he's at. You can still use that strategy, but whenever Foxy appears, you'll have to remember which side Funtime Freddy is at. Don't be afraid to check the closets if you forgot where he went to. Now, the worst thing that can happen during the night is getting overwhelmed with a lot of sound cues, so it's important to know who to prioritize whenever multiple animatronics attack you at once. If it does happen, then this is the order of animatronics you should deal with. The next worst thing is power management. In Super Custom Night, power is pretty lenient, since there is a lot more going on, but that doesn't mean you can just close all 3 doors and be okay. Here are some tips to save power during the night. Close the door on Bonbon only after the sound cue has finished playing. When it's the sound cue for the same side Funtime Freddy is, there's a good amount of time to close the door after the voice line ends. If it's the surprise one, it's a bit more synced with the end of the voice line. Ennard only moves in 6-second intervals, so you can close the door on him just before that 6-second interval once he's reached the door. This should be obvious, but wherever Electrobabs and Minarinas spawn, it's crucial you deal with them as soon as possible. Always shock Electrobabs first, since they're the ones that take your power away. Thankfully, you don't have to green run Ballora or Bidybab, since they got changed. And Freddy will always leave after 1 second with the door closed, so those animatronics shouldn't be a problem. I explained this in my sister location guide, but I'll explain it again. Once you flip down cams, you can get overwhelmed with Yendo, Bonnet, and Lulbit at the same time. Always deal with Yendo first, then Bonnet, then Lulbit. Lulbit in this mod is really slow, so you have even more time to deal with the other two before Lulbit causes a distraction. And that's pretty much it. Again, there's no real strategy for this night, unfortunately. You'll have to play a bunch until you get good at fending off all the animatronics without getting overwhelmed. If at first it feels like you're always missing a sound cue, don't worry, that's usually how it goes. There's a lot going on. You'll eventually be able to focus on each sound cue and deal with them accordingly. Last thing, don't forget Freddy. I've lost a couple runs because he's such a forgettable character during the night that I wouldn't check the left door almost at all. But anyway, I'd say the key to beating this is practice. You will most likely fail a lot before being able to beat this challenge. It helps to do some of the other challenges the game has, or adding a couple animatronics at a time until you get to 1820. But anyway, if you watched this guide carefully and took notes, you should be able to secure your Super Golden Freddy win.
3,
Nice, dude, let's go. Yeah, buddy. Yeah, buddy, top 50, more like Freelo. With that, that's part 1 of the Ultimate Sister Location Super Custom Night Guide. Before I end the video, I want to shout out BroDude5747. If you don't know who this guy is, basically he's the first victor of Perfect Cacophony, which is ranked number 3 on the max mode list. Kind of a big deal, right? But aside from that, they helped me a ton with how the animatronics work and their intervals. I also want to shout out Asta Series, who are the developer of this game, but they also helped out with some aspects of the animatronics you can't really know by just playing. Without them, this guide wouldn't have been as informative and probably would have taken way longer to make. Long story short, these guys are the GOATs. Part 2 of the guide will come out once I beat Hyper Golden Freddy, which is probably going to take a while. But before that, I'm also grinding Puppet Master all challenges, and the goal will be to beat it with the OG laser pointer, like Rat and Cat. So stay tuned for that when it comes out. For now, I hope you guys enjoyed this guide, and if you did, don't forget to like and subscribe. Recently your support has been amazing, so let's keep at it until I can reach 1,000 subscribers. Anyway, thanks for watching and see you next time.